how do you hunt a wild animal? And they said, which one? Buffalo. Day or night? Night time. Cloudy or clear? Oh, shit. Have you ever got into one of those conversations where you think, why did I start this? Why didn't I stick to football, politics, religion, something uncontentious, you know? Oh, yeah, right, it's cloudy, so it's nighttime cloudy. Right. Is there a wind? Oh, God. Yes. From which direction? Should have known that was coming. It's blowing into the buffalo's face. At which point they went, ah! Right, in that unique set of circumstances, you hunt alone. You hunt with a spear. You approach the buffalo from the rear and to the left. I said, hang on, why? They said, it's very simple. When the buffalo detects you in that set of circumstances, night, cloudy, wind, it'll turn to its right. And you don't want to be there, because that's where the pointy bits are. But also, as it turns to its right, you pop the spear in the left, you've got it. I said, fantastic. We spent 2 more hours. And what I found was that for every animal, for every unique combination of different circumstances, there was a totally different hunting strategy. Different number of people, different weapons, different approach. Whatever it was tailored to the animal and the circumstances. And after 2 hours, I said, so what do they teach you first, animals or weapons? Now, they looked at me like I was stupid. Now, I do know that look. I've had it for 52 years. Right? And they said, well, animals, of course, Chris. What's the point of learning about weapons until you understand the situations in which they might be helpful? And as I drifted off to bed that night, I thought, here in the allegedly civilized world, what do we tend to teach first? Animals or weapons? This is a brief interactive moment, ladies and gentlemen. Pardon?
Would the answer be weapons?
Well, I think we tend to, right? We tend to teach stuff, and I think we teach weapons because we think it's quicker. Now, I was born and raised as a salesman. It's not a crime, but it happened. And I worked for IBM, and what do they do when you teach you to be a salesman, right? They take a normal, sensible, rational human being off the street and they say, you're going to be a salesman. So they teach you questioning skills, objection handling techniques, closing techniques, how to turn features into benefits that meet needs. They load you up with all these arrows and spears and clubs, and then they kick you out. And they wonder why half the time you come back beaten and bloodied with no animal. We do the same when we turn people into managers. You take a normal, lovely, rational human being who's really, really nice, and you stick a little label on them, you go, you're a manager, and we send them off on little, little weapon learning courses. So we teach them project management skills, communication skills, time management's very important, now you're a manager, right? We teach them report writing skills, we teach them all of that stuff, and we go, right, you're a manager. And they come out fresh and ready to try. And they decide to go and manage. And they start by managing, and they come over here and they manage. And they do stuff and it works. Yes, I'm a manager. And then they come over here and they do exactly what worked over there because it works here and it doesn't work. Problem employee. And so in desperate need of sort of reboosting their management ego, they come back over here 2 days later to do exactly what they did 2 days ago, and it worked, remember, and they do it, and it doesn't work. Moody bastard. Because it's clearly not them, because they've got all the stuff. And they do it for another 2 or 3 years, and then we finally give them a 360-degree appraisal so they can understand just how dysfunctional they've become. Only problem now is, of course, their reputation is cast in this organization, so in order to produce a better managerial career, they have to move on. So why don't we take the time to teach people about animals? Why is it when I'm talking to people about managing people, they don't even understand the basic question, which is, so what is the higher need that that employee serves by coming to work? What is it that truly drives them? I had one person who was telling me about this woman he managed, who was a real problem person. And I said, so how many kids she got? And he'd been working with her for 8 years. Okay, get this in context. He said, I don't know. I said, oh, okay. What does she do for a hobby? I said, I don't know. I said, where does she live? Oh, that's on the file somewhere. Right, okay. What's she worry about? I don't know. I said, so that's interesting. So you want her to be deadly interested in your stuff, but you haven't got the slightest interest in her stuff. Why is that going to work? Why don't we do that? Why don't we help people understand what animals are all about, and then give them the weapons that they need and teach them how to use them properly? Anyway, enough.